First, we'll have an invocation and the pledge by Pastor Tim Crisco of Catalyst Church. Thank you, sir.
I invite you to pray with me. Father God, we have much gratitude for those that have served our great nation. We pray that yesterday they felt valued and honored for the great sacrifices they have made to give us security and our freedoms that we have in this country. Let us pause and thank you for freedom, love, grace, and mercy that you provide. Pray for the leaders of this community, that you will give them discernment and wisdom in leading and making decisions for Lynn Haven and its citizens. May you, God, bless us and give us peace and unity. It's in your holy name we pray, in the name of Jesus. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, before we move on to public commentary, we have resolution number 2025-11-493, a resolution of the City of Lynn Haven, Florida, excusing the absence of the Mayor Nelson from the November 12, 2025 regular commission meeting. Did you read that, or I did read it?
I did. You're good.
All right. Reads, be it resolved by the City Commission of the City of Lynn Haven,
You don't have
Florida.
to read that part.
Okay, I did that? Cool. All right, cool. Do we have a motion for this?
I'll move that we excuse the mayor.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Perno. Is there a second? All right. Motion dies on the floor. All right, moving on to public commentary. I'm going to go with the list and go from top to bottom. First, we have Corey Langford.
Good evening. Just before I get into talking about stormwater, I'd like to take a moment to thank a worker of the city of Lynn Haven by the name of Mr. Jackson Wales. My mother-in-law moved into Lynn Haven from Panama City Beach, and we moved her in on Saturday. Her water was supposed to have been turned on Friday. Lo and behold, the water meter was locked, and made a couple phone calls, and thanks to Mr. Lightfoot and his team, Mr. Wells actually came out in a very quick time, and we were able to get her water meter turned on. So huge thank you to Mr. Jackson Wells and his team. I messaged you all last week, and I'm kind of glad that I received my tax notices last week because it gave me a little bit of time to cool down when I saw my stormwater assessment. In 2021, I think some of you all may remember that the stormwater assessment was passed, and in 2022, I began coming up here and explaining my frustrations with the fact that I own a vacant property directly across my house. It's the exact same size lot. It's 250-foot wide lots. My house sits on 250-foot wide lots. Ever since then, I've complained and complained that it's nothing but dirt over there. But yet I'm paying more in a stormwater assessment fee for that dirt than I am for my house, pool deck, driveway, shed, accessory structures, etc. I've been extremely, extremely frustrated about this. I was hesitant to support the approval of the stormwater assessment. I felt like we had a need at the time, a stormwater issue in Lynn Haven. I felt like the assessment was going to jumpstart the infrastructure upgrades that we needed here in this city to deal with stormwater. Okay? Every year since that's been passed, I've heard the exact same thing. We've barely got enough money to keep the lights on. In fact, the last time, this last discussion, I believe it was $481,000 in the hole And we were only 6 months into the year, all right? So to say that I'm frustrated is a little bit of an understatement. So I got my tax bill last week, and frustrations were renewed. For the dirt across the street, my annual stormwater assessment is $201.36. For my home with the driveway, all the impervious surfaces that I have, I pay $172.10. Make it make sense. Just please make it make sense, all right? The last thing I'm going to close with is this. There's not a person sitting up here right now that can tell me when this assessment's going to end. As of right now, my great-great-grandchildren are going to be paying a stormwater assessment in the city of Lynn Haven. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to Jeff Snyder.
Good evening. Jeff Snyder, 309 Virginia Avenue. I know a lot of times, this is not a slight on anyone, that you guys only hear bad when we come before you. I want to highlight something good that's happened. My family and I are committed members of our sports program. My sons have played flag football and baseball for a number of years, and I want to just tell you guys that under Justin Ward's leadership, the program is premier. It is excellent. We had a less than positive event a few different times over this past baseball season, some personality conflicts, and it really kind of came to a head last Thursday night. I was able to speak with Justin and his staff, and it was addressed. We felt heard, and I want to commend the city for finding him and retaining him, because you're building through his leadership, you're building a really, really fantastic sports program. It has gotten steadily better under his leadership. So that's it. I just wanted to make you guys aware of that. Thank you. Enjoy your evenings.
Thank you. Next, we have Ryan Scray.
Good evening. I'd really like to understand, I would love for you guys to explain to me, after asking for an agenda item to discuss tasking the city with finding out the cost of zoning, why that agenda item's still not up on the agenda. I get it. We went through a ballot. We had non-binding referendum questions. The zoning one failed because it was written to fail. We have, again, tonight, another quick service food industry development order along 77 in a city that is far over capacity on that highway for quick service restaurants. And that's not opinion. Like, you can do actual analytics on that for our census data. I'm just wondering why we're still not having the discussion about looking into the actual cost of zoning. How hard is it going to be to get some kind of direction for the city to actually look at that? I don't think the city's actually looked at that. When it got discussed for the non-binding resolutions, it was a lot of, well, we don't know. It's just going to be expensive. How expensive? Let's just find out. I'm not asking for you to approve zoning. I just want to find out how much it's going to be cost to implement it, so we can, as a city, decide if that's something we want. Do we want 48 more fast food restaurants in one part of the city or not? That's all I'm asking for, is just the discussion and the data. Other than that, I also sent an email about first responders in Lynn Haven. I know the labor rate study is going to happen. In that email, I talked to you guys about, looking at maybe putting a pay schedule together for the employees of the city that models after the GS employee pay schedule, different levels, different steps within the level. You can build your COLA into your steps 1 through 10. Somebody could go 10 whole years without ever needing a COLA adjustment just by increasing their steps with each year of service. Then you can reserve COLA adjustments for when they're truly needed. So when you do that rate study, I would like to see whoever does that rate study come back with something like that. Because I don't know if you guys looked into the data after I sent that email, but the police department is not staffed fully. And I don't know how many exact officers are away from not being able to fulfill a whole shift, but it's pretty close. And that's concerning. The response times alone between the city and the county is a large gap. So I highly ask that you guys look into that and make some kind of move to assure those first responders they'll get action right away.
Thank you. That was exactly 3 minutes. Next we have, last name is Cobb on Alabama Avenue. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Tabby Cobb, Alabama Avenue. I have not a criticism, but a few suggestions. I would like to thank Commissioner Tender for some quick action when I talked to her on Saturday about a problem caused by the water repair job on Alabama. The contractors quickly took care of it and informed Mr. Lightfoot about it. I received emails, we corresponded quickly, and I ended up talking to Mr. Lightfoot. While what I heard was not exactly what I was looking for, I do understand it's not a city problem. It was caused by the contractor. I still appreciate the quick response and suggestions that I get. The one suggestion is possibly the city have a little bit more oversight of some of the contractors to know exactly what they're doing so that the residents aren't jarred literally out of their chairs when the contractors are dumping asphalt and concrete they've dug up on other streets and dumping the vacant lot behind you, so you know what's happening when your pictures are turning on the wall. And also know that when they go to remove that debris, that, yeah, they are disturbing the ground, sending ants and other critters into other people's lots, invading sheds and things like that. You know, that maybe they could have been a bit proactive and put a barrier down or something. Contractor, not so much the city, because if you've hired the contractor, that is their responsibility to do. Again, I do appreciate the quick response from Commissioner Tender, and when my email response to Chris, immediately got a phone call, and I appreciated that. So, again, I know y'all don't have an easy job. Watched my dad do this for like 20-something years, and, you know, there's a lot going on behind the scenes that they don't see. So, seriously do appreciate everybody's time, and I know it's a hard job, and y'all are appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Jerry Parker.
Good evening, Commission. Jerry Parker, Rhett Place. I want to discuss a city policy in reference to the charter as well about hiring the police chief. Y'all really do need to get all the resumes for the candidates. There was also a committee that was made that was not approved by the commission of other police departments going to look at resumes. What? Has anybody ever heard of that before? Another police department looking at our resumes to determine a chief of police? I think that needs to be ixnayed. Also, the policy does state the appointment of the department of heads, including the chief of police, shall be made by the city manager with the advice and consent of the city commission. That is the Charter Article 3, Section 21. Office of the Chief of Police has no charter authority, but rather acts under the direction of the city manager and serves at the city manager's pleasure. Succinctly stated, the police chief has no authority to issue policies that supersede those approved by the city commission or to contravene city manager established procedures that apply to all city employees. With that being said, It doesn't say that that commission or that committee gets to choose the top 10, which includes, I am sure, is Ford, Telementez, and other police departments. So you can give the, the commission should get the resumes, period. They should get the resumes of all these police resumes. And so you can give the advice and consent to the Lynn Haven taxpayers. A lot of information over several years has been given, and 2 people are finally gone. 7 years. It took 7 years of corruption to get Vicki Gaynor and the chief of police out of office. Surprisingly, your city manager is not doing what the charter states. The charter states very succinctly what needs to be done, and that needs to be addressed. Also, one other thing that I would like to address, why is Forehand still employed by the city of Lynn Haven? Did you not realize he was the one that brought Michael White to Lynn Haven after they were both fired from the co-op? Guys, this is not good. It's not good that he's still employed by the city of Lynn Haven.
Thank you. Next, we have Bernie Thompson.
Hello, I'm Bernie Thompson. I want to address the culture of the city of Lynn Haven. Obviously, there are big changes going on. The city manager was fired by you guys. The police chief retired early. And now you've got a mayor who hasn't been here for the past 3 meetings, who is most likely going to be recalled. But just getting rid of the people who were at the heart of the problem doesn't solve the culture. And I want to address a couple. I want to make a public record request, actually, for digital copies of any and all invoices issued to members of the commission who wanted to inspect public records. The time frame is from Hurricane Michael to now. How many of you have received invoices to inspect public records? And I have another separate public record request for any and all digital copies of city security footage of the former IT employee who recently brought in carloads of technology equipment that was kept at his home after he left the city. I want to look at those videos, please. I want to see how much equipment it was. I have an idea already. Why is there no public discussion about this? Why do you all act like this doesn't happen and hope a guy like me doesn't show up and tell everybody? It's the culture. The last one I want to bring up, over the past couple of meetings, you've had Commissioner Tinder turn over evidence from Officer McAlendon, whose name has not been mentioned. This is evidence found at a foreclosed home that was sensitive and confidential. I'm talking about CPT exams. Do you all know what those are? Child Protective Team exams taken at the Gulf Coast Children's Advocacy Center. Those are confidential. But they were just copies, Bernie. Also, there were files and files of records of those contractor licenses received at Calhoun County. Look, even though he is the custodian of record, it's within his job scope to have them. It is not in his job scope to abandon confidential records. And I'd love a discussion about this. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have James Finch.
James Finch, East 2nd Street. I'm the recall chairman, and I got some good news for you. We've been able to achieve our goal As of today, we've passed the amount of petitions that we need. We will be taking petitions through this Saturday, and, to have extras in case we have a problem, which we don't anticipate. We have several hundred more than what is required, and we will be turning them into the city Monday morning. We're going to take through Saturday. But the recalls should be a reality, and I was glad to see, I believe tonight I understood y'all did not excuse the mayor from being here tonight. Is that true? That's why I thank you for that. I mean, he took this job, and it pays money, and he should earn it. But in the meantime, if he'd like to sign the petition, I'll come bring him one. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there any further public commentary? All right, we'll start on this side down and then this side down. Mr. Walker?
Walker, 1106 Michigan Avenue. Looking at the consent agenda for number 11 and number 12, I'd like to ask permission to have you move that to discussion into the regular agenda, because I have comments on it, and I don't see this ever being brought before the people, so they don't know anything about it, what's going on here. I'd like to ask 11 and 12 be brought before the commission tonight as part of agenda items, if that's okay with you.
We'll talk about that on agenda item number 4, where we can do additions and deletions on our agenda. After public commentary, we'll discuss that.
Okay? Because if you don't, I only have 3 minutes to discuss both of them.
Yeah.
I just need to bring it to forward.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Any further public commentary? All right. That's the final public commentary for now. Moving on to agenda item number 4, additions, deletions, modifications of the agenda. This is what I was talking about, Mr. Walker. We were going to have the ability to, this is relatively new to our agenda, but on our number 4 now, we have an ability to add, modify, delete items from the agenda. And so that's kind of what I was getting at. Sorry, I forget that I need to talk real close to the mic like this. All right, is there any additions, deletions, modifications of the agenda? To what Mr. Walker said, I did confirm with the attorney that we should, for the consent agenda, we're still going to have the ability for public commentary during that time. So just wanted to say that out loud for everybody in case they were wondering. Is there anything that we want to add, delete, modify? I would just like to take this time to, about the feasibility study of zoning. I think if I remember properly, we asked this in the past, and it was going to cost something like anywhere from $7,000 to $15,000 to even do like a feasibility study of that. I don't know how accurate those numbers are, so really I just wanted to ask if we could get those numbers so that we can make that decision to begin with.
Yes, sir. And I was going to bring up in my report as well that we do plan on having the workshop. I've confirmed the date with you all for the capital improvement and ULDC discussion on December 12th. That is one of the topics as part of the ULDC and then potential zoning. So if you'd like to wait until that meeting to discuss that, to give some staff direction on cost estimates or consultants, or what would you would like to do as part of that?
Yeah, that's fine with me. It would kind of go in line with the whole thing, so. And you'd have more data at that time.
Well, not necessarily more data, but a good talking point to understand exactly what we are going for. Are we wanting to hire someone to come in and look at zoning maps? Or, I mean, that is the point of that workshop, to kind of give us some direction and plan on what we need to do for ULDC and zoning conversation.
Okay. Yeah, that works. Thank you.
I did have a conversation at the Coffee with Commissioners with our new planning director and about where we need to go with zoning in the state we're in, and she was very enlightening, and but I don't think we have. It's not in stone that we're going to put zoning in place. We need to get this conversation rolling because the cost of just looking at it is one thing. The cost of having it and maintaining it is a serious thing. You're bringing another department back is what you're doing. So just to let you know, I mean, so that's just it's a lot to think about. So do our homework and be ready for the 12th of December. Is there anybody we can bring in that I know we had a professor from FSU come talk to us one time. Do you recall that?
Mr. Greer, or you talking about Mr. Greer, our consultant, or the gentleman from FSU?
Yeah, the gentleman from FSU.
We can try to work that out to have him here on the 12th. Again, the workshop is just so we can get some direction for the new year to know exactly what
He might have ballpark figures on zoning and stuff like that as
can
well.
figure out if he has any numbers.
All right. Is there any more additions, deletions, modifications to the agenda?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem. I have a question regarding number 11 of Kiki. As far as, can we put that on an item by itself?
So that item, we can move it. It has nothing to do with finance. It is a settlement that our insurance paid. It is.
Oh, no. I am so sorry. Talking about the 371,000, number 12.
Yes, ma'am. We can.
Move it to a regular agenda.
Yeah, we can. If everyone's fine with that, we can move that to number last. So that would be number 20. Yeah, number 20. Well, I guess technically, yeah. We'll just save that for last because we're moving it from one spot. I don't want to do math in my head. All right. Is there any more additions or deletions? All right, let me make a note of this real quick. All right, moving on to commissioners' reports. I went 1, 2, 3, 4 last time, so why don't we go 4, 3, 2, 1 this time? Commissioner Tender, you can go
I have
first
no
this time.
report.
I don't really have anything. I know yesterday was Veterans Day. Just want to say thank you to all our veterans, especially the ones in our community. Our community has a lot of veterans, and they're a valuable asset to our community. So just say thank you. That's it.
Commissioner Perno?
I'll echo the sentiments of Commissioner Ward. Yesterday I went to the Legion and met with some folks. And it's an honor to meet the people that have served our country and tell them thank you. Did a lot of that in my business yesterday too, and it's just one day that it's a very emotional day, and it's one of those days that you're filled with a lot of gratitude at the end of the day when you're doing good stuff for good people. So, and then I don't have much to report. I would have to tell you that I did attend as a citizen. I attended the first Charter Review Committee meeting, and I also attended the Planning Board meeting as a citizen. Just I'm coming up on the last year of my term, and I wanted to get out and tell the Planning Commission thank you for what they do, and thank anybody who's ever served on the Planning Commission. So I did. I just wanted to do that, and with that, that's all I have to report. Other than Commissioner Peebles, thank you for your first attendance of a TPO meeting in virtual.
Yes.
So, and we have new routes in Lynn Haven. The actual bus route is not taking place anymore. The people who want a ride can call, and a smaller bus will come and pick them up and take them to the hub. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I think that's so one of the routes that ran up here down Pennsylvania, you know, and the big buses. It's pretty much a on-call kind of thing now, so that's a good thing. So,
Mayor Pro Tem, I forgot one thing, if I may.
Sure, go ahead.
The comment about the police chief and appointment process and that, if you look, there's an agenda item about advice and consent. I think it'll address your issue in that. So I plan on talking about that quite extensively. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Commissioner Perno. For me, yes, like Commissioner Perno said, I was able to attend my first TPO meeting. I attended virtually this time. I'll be there in person next time, but it's like drinking from a water hose. It's a lot of information all at once, but I legitimately, when I got finished with it, I told my wife, I was like, I thought I was going to be bored out of my mind for an hour and a half of PowerPoints, but it was really interesting. So if, I mean, they have their agendas online just like we do. So if anyone's just interested in seeing what their agendas are, you can just go on as a normal citizen, go on, just literally just Google Bay County TPO agenda. It's right there. Click it. You can read it. It's once every quarter. It's really good information. And you can kind of see the future of where we're headed as far as traffic within Bay County. And it's really cool. I've also spent a lot of time over the past 2 weeks looking over the city manager applications. Thank you for the HR for putting that together. It's always fun. I'd say, I mean, it's fun to look up people and look at their history and their resumes and stuff. And I'm going to continue to look at that, and we'll talk about that more on the agenda, I'm sure, later down. But just want to say I've been looking at those a lot, and just thanks for everyone for all the emails you sent in the past 2 weeks and coming to the meetings and making your voice heard. With that, we'll move on to the interim city manager's report.
Thank you. As we discussed earlier, we will have the December 12th workshop to discuss capital improvement projects, the ULDC, and the zoning. The city received our LAP certification. It's good until October 31st, 2028. That opens the door for some DOT funding for some LAP projects. So luckily, Mr. Janke and Mr. Baker got that completed for us and moved us on to being LAP certified. Just a reminder, our Winter Wonderland is this Saturday, November 15th here at Sheffield Park. A lot of vendors will be set up, so bring your family, come out and enjoy that with some shopping. As you see in your packets, we did update the car form to kind of be a little more up to date and a little more informative. So as you make your way through your packets, or if you have any suggestions, don't hesitate to let us know. We'll continue to modify that and hopefully make that a little more informative for everyone in the packet. As of Friday at our staff meeting, we had 4 payment arrangements of the federal workers that were affected that we discussed last meeting for the utility bills. We had 4 people taking advantage of that here in Lynn Haven. Youth volleyball registration is filling up fast, so if you want to get your child registered, need to get that going ASAP. Beware of the scam emails going around. They are coming. They look like they're coming from our planning department for an invoice. I believe around $4,800 is what it's saying that you owe for some type of fees. If you get that, please report it to us. It's a pretty common scam going around for governments right now. So if you receive one of those personally, please reach out to the city and let us know, and we can add that to our report. Police chief applications, we have that narrowed down to 11 applicants. We will be conducting online interviews next week, and then we will be narrowing that down to 3 to 5 applicants, and that will be done before a panel of, yes, other police chiefs throughout Bay County along with city staff. That is very common practice for this type of position. Multiple municipalities have done that. We've got one chief that's filling in on that panel. He's actually working in another municipality right now doing the same thing outside of Bay County. So that is pretty common practice for that. And we will be conducting those interviews, hopefully have a selection to bring before the commission for the advice and consent for the first meeting in January is our goal. And that is all I have. Finance report.
Have any questions about the finance report? Yes, Mr.
I just wanted to know, on the 371,000, do we actually have those funds?
Yes, ma'am, that was, you're talking about the vac truck now? the vac truck that's going to be item number 20. Yes, ma'am, that is included in the budget. It's in the sewer department, and we have, get you the exact numbers, we budgeted $320,000 that you approved when you approved the budget.
Okay. And where's the extra 50 coming from? Do we know yet?
Yes, ma'am. It's part of the packet there. We budgeted more money in the sewer department for a generator. We are foregoing the generator and adding that $51,000 to the back truck purchase.
So if this passes, we'll be able to just write them a check.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right. I would like to piggyback in what Mr. Lightfoot said about the volleyball. We signed up my daughter, I think, on a Saturday or something, and just happened to check the next day, and the slots dropped from like 47 in her age group to 33 in like a day. So they really are filling up fast. So if you want your children to play volleyball, you need to sign up, which is more testament to what Mr. Ward's doing and his team. Yeah. And Winter Wonderland, great event. I go every year, so I hope to see you there. And we will move on to the city attorney's report. All right, thank you.
Do we have any beach volleyball courts in Lynn Haven?
Yes, sir. We did construct a beach volleyball court at the sports complex. It's right next to the pickleball court. And it does get used quite frequently.
That's good.
That reminds me, I meant to mention this a few months ago. There's been some, periodically people will say, we need a park that's fenced. There is playground equipment right behind the gym, right where that volleyball court is, that is fenced off. So if that's a need of yours that you want a playground equipment for your children to go on that's fenced off, there's one right there. You can't see it from the road, so that's probably why people don't know that it's there, but it is. So spread the word if anyone's asking about that. All right, moving on to the consent agenda. Approval of the minutes dated 10/28/25, regular meeting minutes. Approval of appointing Venus Weaver to the Infrastructure Surtax Oversight Committee. For information only, the settlement agreements accepted and approved by all parties in relation to the matters of Peace v. City of Lynn Haven, case 2023 CA 000471, only v. City of Lynn Haven, case 2024 CA 000344. We move number 12 down. So number 13, approval to declare Fortinet router 1001F as excess equipment and auction off on govdeals.com.
And Mayor Pro Tem, may I point out on page 21, it said the settlement was for $75,000. When it's written out there, it says $75, and then in the parentheses, $75,000, but just noted that for the...
Yes, thank you for bringing it up. I didn't notice that, but I just made the assumption that that was a typo. All right, do we have a motion for this?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Oh, man, that was right.
Seconds.
That was right at the same time. All right, we'll go with...
Both gender.
All right. Commissioner Tender has ceded his second to Commissioner Tender, so we got a motion to approve by Commissioner Warwick, seconded by Commissioner Tender. Is there any public commentary for these items? Mr. Walker?
The city manager explained exactly on that issue that I was going to bring up. That incident occurred 3 years ago. There's no transparency on that incident. I once looked into the court cases against Lynn Haven. I discovered 17. That was a long time ago. Now I've been told there's 25. This one we're talking about right now is 2022, and it has the incorrect number, as you pointed out, written. If you write a check for $10, you don't get the numbers to match with the letters, the check is invalid. That agreement should be shoved because it's incorrect. It says, in the consideration of the sum $75.00, In figures, it says 75,000. Second part of this court case is correct. So your total numbers are quite heavy. My question to you is, you're correcting that now, did the lady get 75,000? If you're reading this as a legal document, doesn't work. It's signed by a notary. The notary is saying it's only for the signatures. But this is an official document from the city of Lynn Haven, and it's incorrect. Is this one of the 25 court cases we've got? The first leading court case you've got is for $1.5 million. This one's almost $200,000. It's a mistake. Is the person that instigated this mistake, not the writing, but the accident, still working for us? Is the insurance company that's paying this for us? Probably not. What I'm saying here is this is a mistake, and it's a bad one. Somebody did it. Somebody should be accountable, and the people should be aware of this incident and everything about it. Just like Ms. Tinder is finding out information. She's not being told about it. We're not being told about it. Your transparency credit is very weak. Thank you.
So my question on that is to the city attorney, do we need to make anything done to fix the typo, or is it good to go?
The commission doesn't need to. It's done. It's totally paid for by insurance. No city funds. This is just for informational only.
Okay. So as far as legal documents saying $75 and
What he's saying, that's
yeah.
something that they should have caught, and they may have tried to fix it. But there's nothing this commission needs to do.
Okay. Sorry. Is there any further public commentary? All right. No further public commentary. Is there any discussion from the commission? All right. We've got a motion on the floor for approval from Commissioner Warwick, seconded by Commissioner Tender. Mr. Lightfoot, if you'd call the roll.
Commissioner Warwick?
Yes.
Commissioner Tender?
Yes.
Commissioner Perno?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Peebles?
Yes. Motion approved. Moving on to, there is no old business and there's no tabled items. So we're moving on to new business. Quasi-judicial public hearing opens at 6:21. Discussion and possible approval of development order application 2501 Seven Brew Coffee, parcel number 102280000001420 Ohio Avenue.
This is a quasi-judicial, so if any of the stakeholders are going to testify, if you raise your right hand. Sworn in. Swore to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And then also for the commission, if there's been any ex parte communications with the developer, the interested parties, you can
I've had none.
disclose those.
I know I attended the planning board meeting, and I just spoke with the gentleman briefly after the meeting. It was more about,
As long as you base your decision on what you hear today. Yeah.
I've had none.
I've had none.
Thank you. Before you is a development order for Seven Brew Coffee. This project would be located at 1420 Ohio Avenue with main ingress and egress along West 15th Street. And there is an exit-only pass-through lane going out onto Ohio Avenue or Route 77. This project is also in the CRA district and is within the mixed-use future land use map category. This is a .516 acre vacant piece of property that would be used for the Seven Brew, if approved. Since this does abut onto Route 77, that is a state road, FDOT did look at this application and the traffic data associated with it. There are no additional improvements required along Route 77, and FDOT has determined everything to be in order, and they are ready to issue a permit approving any development order. The site plan itself has been reviewed and found to be in compliance with the City of Lynn Haven's Unified Land Development Code, the CRA district, and all Florida state requirements. This was reviewed by the Planning Commission at their meeting this past week on November 4th, and as Commissioner Perno said, you were in attendance, and we had a gentleman here that represented the project that spoke slightly about the project itself, Mr. Drew Deegan, and he is also here tonight, so if you have questions for him or he'd like to present anything, he is available to do so. And then if you have any questions for staff, we'll be happy to answer them.
I guess my main question is, I mean, I'm looking at the map here, and Seven Brew, I've been to Seven Brew in Callaway area, and they do really well over there, so it brings in a lot of traffic. And so my question is there going to be any turn lanes or anything to help move that traffic in, or is it just going to be a straight up turn in from Ohio Avenue, pull out onto Ohio Avenue?
Yeah, you can do it. Thank you, Harold. You can turn in from 15th Street. That is one thing we did ask FDOT about, was right turn lanes. And as they put it, this roadway, which is Route 77, is considered to be a context class 4 roadway. And what that classification does is it lends itself to commercial areas such as Route 77, and that there are going to be expected turn maneuvers going on. So they did not want an additional turn lane coming in from 77 to the 15th Street intersection.
Okay, thank you. If I remember properly, isn't there a turn lane in the middle of 77 anyways? So turning left is not going to be an issue because there's a turn lane right there.
Right, and you're going to have your traffic flowing
Well, within
15th
reason.
Street into the site. And like I mentioned, there's only that pass-through lane. If you're in the site and you decide to get out of the turn lanes for whatever reason, you can exit a right turn only onto 77, but it's not allowing to have direct access in and out of the site from 77.
It's only geared to drive through. It's really the whole concept is it's a small building, small footprint, double drive through going around it. They have very limited parking, only for employees and maybe a troubled guest to squeeze into. That's about it. So
That is correct, and that was something that was asked during the Planning Commission meeting as well, about the possibility of having traffic come in and park and pull up to the counter, and that is not
designed for that.
designed for that, but I believe Mr. Egan
They'll
said
be
that if
accepting
that
of it.
happened, they wouldn't turn someone away for it, but it's not designed like other
It's not like
restaurants
you're
or
not going to go
something that-
linger like a Starbucks and do your homework or anything. You
Yeah,
don't get
definitely.
in, get out, and you stay in your car.
Exactly.
It's like the Jetsons.
So I guess this would be for the developer or engineer or whoever, but is it going to be built essentially like the one over in Callaway area? Because if so, yeah, there's definitely not a place for you to just park.
There's going to be
Yeah.
employee parking, but not like a typical restaurant where you want people to come in and sit down. Mr. Jenkins here. I can have him speak more to the project.
Sure, thank you.
Hi, yes, my name is Drew Deegan. I work with, I'm here to represent Seven Crew as the franchisee for this development. Yes, which as far as you mentioned, as far as will be built similar to the Callaway store. The building will be the same build. It's a modular building. It's prefabricated. It actually gets placed. It's built somewhere else and it's placed there. The layout is a little bit different than our Callaway store. I think we have several more queuing spaces within the drive-through. We also like the access better here because it does come off of, not that main road, whereas Callaway store connects to kind of a larger road where there's more of an issue with traffic there. Here, we like that we really have that kind of almost side access off of the smaller road, which should alleviate a lot of those concerns. So I know that there were some traffic concerns about some of the Callaway store from staff who had visited that. That store was experiencing some capacity issues with being down some coffee machines, so that was inhibiting them from serving people fast enough to maintain that queuing.
Awesome. Thank you. Any other questions? No? Thanks for answering. All right. Is there a motion for this?
Motion to approve.
Second. I think Commissioner Perno got it first that time. All right, we got a motion to approve from Commissioner Warwick, a second from Commissioner Perno. Is there any discussion from the public? All right, I started on this side last time, so I'm going to start on this side this time. And then we'll come over to this side. Mrs. Gray.
My main concern with this plan as designed is that it doesn't really force cars leaving that right turn only exit to turn only right. And the reason being is if you look closely at the design, the north side or left facing portion of that exit is rounded, which will obviously not prohibit somebody from just exiting and turning left to go north on 77. I looked up quite a few other designs of right turn only exits, and they're far more aggressive than this one to really angle the exit trajectory only to the right of a vehicle. So I would just propose that if you guys do approve this, and I think this is a great addition to the community, I would propose it conditional upon a more aggressive right turn exit to discourage people from turning left onto 77 because it's in a weird spot. The fire department's across the street. You're pretty close to the main intersection there for 390, so traffic gets backed up a lot. And I just have concerns about if people are leaving in the morning and turning left because it's not forcing them right, we're going to see some T-bone accidents.
Yeah,
McDonald's has the same thing.
I feel a little, I don't know, hurt that you just assume that we only drink coffee in the morning. Okay, maybe I want to get coffee in the afternoon. All right.
I think the McDonald's has the same thing. They don't want people coming out and turning left, and I saw some bad accidents there as well. So there probably does need to be a discourage people from coming out onto 77 and making a left to go north. I think if you circumvent the roads right, you shouldn't have a problem. You can get right back out to a light and make a right. I mean, you're not far from going behind Walgreens and getting out and coming back. You double back a little bit, but in the matter of safety, you can be a smart driver. But yeah, I wouldn't want to see people excessively turning left with people coming off that 390 light going south.
So can I ask the engineer or project manager a question?
Sure.
Is there a way to make that more aggressive so it forces them to make a right?
I was taking a look at it as he was making the comment. I can't say that I would think there would be a way to do it. I'm not the engineer for the project. I represent the developer. I mean, I understand some of those things, but I'm not the designer. So I will just say that, again, it was reviewed by FDOT and deemed to be sufficient for their safety concerns. It's certainly something that we can ask the engineer to take a look at to see if it would be beneficial to get it more aggressive. I just can't say for sure that there's not a reason why we didn't do that already.
Yeah. I have a statement. Instead of paying thousands of dollars to an engineer, why don't you just put up a sign that says no left turn, right turn only?
That way we would be happy to do that. Yeah.
It'd be so simple.
Yeah, as it's designed now, it is marked with pavement striping to that effect, but we can add a sign below the stop sign.
Yeah,
to
if
kind
they
of
pull
further
out and get T-boned at
enforce
that point when they don't read no left turn, well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's no problem at all. Yep, absolutely.
I will
Fire
say
department's
this:
close by.
signs only keep the honest man honest. So.
Hi, y'all. Vincent Spar with the Kimley Horn. I help with y'all's traffic reviews. I just wanted to add that one of the initial DOT comments on their site plan asks them to create a little bit more of that rightward force movement. So it actually has already been tweaked somewhat to address that concern. And then if you look at that site plan sheet that we had up there before, as Jennifer mentioned, the big portion of why that egress is actually there on 77 is really for deliveries. Folks who are using that thing day to day and grabbing their coffee are all going to come out on 15th Street. So that the egress to the north on 77 is largely just delivery trucks and probably won't be happening during heavy traffic moments of the day.
So it's only really going through, not stopping and getting coffee.
Exactly.
That's a good
If you're getting
point.
coffee, you're not coming out that way.
All right, so do you want to keep the motion the same, or? Okay.
If we don't see a sign, we can stop in.
All right, Mr. Walker, do you still want to talk on it?
That was one of my concerns. I've driven down there, and there are a lot more that enters into it. First of all, the City of Lynn Haven's traffic officer, which there is none, has reported no problem. I have a letter here from Drew Deegan to Jennifer Boyer, Zach Cochran, explaining what can develop at this type of environment. The load office service for that road is commercial. Last week, it was closed. 15th Street was closed. Couldn't get on it, you couldn't get off of it. The city was installing fire hydrants and had it all blocked off. That can happen. That is the only way in and out of this coffee place. Only way in and out. The 77 route is only an exit. Only an exit. And it's a left-hand turn, and you've discussed it very nicely and kind of convincingly. The only way to get into 15th Street is off of 390. So if you're heading over to Bailey Bridge and you want to get coffee, you're going to have to get off at the light at 390, come down, turn around, come back, come across, get to 15th Street, go down. They're going to be using this as a proving ground, a training area. Because in this letter, it says this has been done before, and they had a problem with backups because they only had approximately 2 machines working, one was broken. This was at Tyndall. And they said, here, as we say, the experience at Tyndall is an exception, but not the true rule for our 2 stores to operate. Wait a minute. Failed at Tyndall. The backup is going to be tremendous. And there. Only one way in and out, only another way out, and that's on 77. And you're going to have to put stop signs and everything up there. This is going to be a mess.
May I ask a developer a question? I mean, being that you've already faced the problem, you are going to have more coffee machines at this one, so your line will run faster, right?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Being that you've already faced the problem in Tyndall and you didn't have enough coffee machines to make the line go quicker, you're going to have more coffee machines at this one, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not a matter of
I figured.
or just one
yeah.
head was down, and so
Right.
we'll make sure that we have better operational equipment at this one.
Yeah, your grand opening is going to be intense.
Grand opening is always going to be very, very busy.
Yeah, so there's going to be backups when it's new. I mean, it might for the first week or so, because we go run into new stuff. We do. So
Yeah, we'll do a lot of promotional events. There'll be like some kind of free giveaway type of times, and those times will be certainly busier. But and in that time, staff is training. Everyone's kind of figuring out how to run the well-oiled machine, and as time goes on, we tend to operate better.
cases and places.
So I'd like to go back to the right turn thing. How difficult would it be to change it where it's more sharp?
How difficult is sort of an arbitrary question, I suppose, but there are pretty simple, straightforward design plans that can be done. I would just say that it was modified to FDOT's.
I understand.
To be deemed sufficient to DOT, which tends to be fairly stringent, as has been.
Well, there's engineering and then there's reality.
Of course,
you know,
right.
so-
And you can make that thing as hard right turn as you want, and somebody in
Right.
their F-150 is still going to swing a U-turn if they find a gap out there.
Right.
There's only so much we can.
I just don't know how to quantify it.
I think
I can't hear you.
You're pushing everybody right, and then somebody's going to be turning left into it from the northbound lane and could cause an accident.
True.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, I mean, you just got to set the wheels in motion.
I think the more important factor again is that most customers aren't going out that way. Almost
I get
nobody.
it. I understand it. If it's just one thing that we can change that could help prevent an accident, I would rather go that direction.
100%.
So that's kind of the way I'm looking. But you're right. It's typically not going to be a problem because there's a lot less traffic that goes through that. So.
All right, we have a motion. Oh, sorry. Is there any more public commentary on this subject? Okay. We have a motion on the floor approved by Commissioner Warwick, and was it who? I don't remember who had the second.
Perno.
Commissioner Perno had the second.
So if I were to modify my motion, I don't know how to quantify it where I'm like, I want to have it more sharp right turn. I mean, I don't know if I need to come up with an angle or something. I don't know how you do that.
What number to give you? It seems like
and I thought
DOT made them turn it more than it was originally done anyway.
thought that's what we impressed upon him in the motion.
I think yeah. I still think if it's just something that it doesn't take a whole lot of work to do, it would make sense to do it now as opposed to later where if we run into problems and there's some accidents that happen, even if it's just one. I get it, you know. So I'll make a motion. I don't know how to make the motion, but I'll make the motion that I'd like to amend my motion, if you're fine with it, that the right turn is more angled to the right, so it's less likely that they'll take a left turn out onto 77.
Kevin, how
I don't know.
how do we make them do that? I mean, we can't go on a motion and say, yeah, this is more definitive, right? I mean,
They've already satisfied what DOT requires. They're going to go ahead and put a sign up on our request.
Yeah, I mean, the only way to do it is to have them redesign it and bring it back. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, now if you could say put, you know, signage up, you know, a no right turn, obviously that's clear and definitive. As far as, you know, a slight redesign, I mean, any kind of redesign, no matter how slight, we'd have to look at it again. And I think they said they already did have to angle it more based on what DOT said.
So even if we approve it, that they put a greater angle on it, it's still got to come back to us?
So what is it? Who's going to see it again?
If we're asking them to change the design, they're going to have to redesign and bring it back to us, is what he's saying.
Bring it back to the city.
Whereas we're asking them to, you know,
Put a no right turn.
to put a deterrent up there in a sign, you know, no left turn sign, right?
Okay.
It's up to
Guess
you.
we'll call the vote
so.
then.
So with the amended motion or without the amended?
You can't because he has to agree to the amended motion, and he hasn't. So you have to go with the original motion.
Oh, okay. I've fallen. All right. Back to the original motion. Mr. Lightfoot, could you call the roll?
Commissioner Warwick,
Yes.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Peebles.
Yes. Public hearing closes at 6:43.
Welcome to Lynn Haven.
Moving on to number 15, discussion and possible approval to approve and authorize and execute task order for sewer force main improvement design to Panhandle Engineering in the amount of $382,820.
Yes, sir. Last fiscal year, we updated the hydraulic model for the sewer system, went through everything, noted our deficiencies throughout the system with force main sizes. So this design here includes to construct a new 16-inch and 12-inch force main along the railroad right-of-way, Kentucky Avenue and 6th Street, as well as force main improvements on the southern route of Highway 77 collection system, and construct a 10-inch force main along the Lift Station 2 collection basin. And these projects are all based on the findings of our sewer hydraulic model to upsize all of the lines and ensure that our collection system is adequate to prevent sanitary sewer overflows and convey the sewer to the wastewater treatment plant.
Awesome. Do I have a motion for this?
I have a comment, if I
ahead.
may. Obviously, I'm very clear on doing or not doing business with Chris Forehand. I feel very strongly about this, and I think everybody got an email earlier, but we're doing business with somebody almost to tune of $500,000, and he's on our budget every single time, who has broke the law in more ways than we can state, who hasn't been held accountable for any of it yet. And I just feel like I just don't know. It gives us a bad view and a bad look to be doing business with this person. He's not the only engineer in town. I don't know who they are, but I know he's not the only one. Anyway, I just wanted to say that before we vote.
Mr. Lightfoot, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we have an RFQ out because we talked about service contracts, how in this particular one for all the engineers for the city hadn't been renewed, I think, for like 15 years. And we had the discussion where they need to come to us every 5 years.
So,
and this one, I believe, has gone out to RFQ.
It has not gone out yet. It is in the process of going out to be advertised.
Okay.
It was 2015 was the last time the engineering RFQ was advertised.
Right. Okay, 10 years, sorry. Add an agenda item. That's all I can tell you.
All right. Is there a motion for this or any further discussion before we move on?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right. We have a motion from Commissioner Wark, second from Commissioner Perno. Is there any discussion from the public? Yes, ma'am.
So if I'm understanding correctly, there's no process to choose an engineer. You only are working with one engineer, because I've seen Dewberry come up here. So explain that to me when you talk about the RFQ has not been reviewed in 15 years. So why can't you choose another engineer?
So we have a continuing service contract with 3 engineers: Panhandle Engineering, Dewberry Engineers, and Mott McDonald. We do work with all 3 of them. This is just a project that Panhandle has been working on in the past. They updated the sewer hydraulic model and put this work together of knowing what upgrades needed to be done of our collection system here.
So this is a continuation of a previous project?
It is to piggyback off of the sewer hydraulic model work that was done last year and to implement the findings of that model upgrade.
Okay, so I just know that Panama City rotates who they give projects to. Does Lynn Haven do the same thing?
Yes, ma'am. We have task orders with all 3 of them active right now.
Okay. So one of the other engineers could get this. They could.
Could they do the work? Absolutely.
Okay. So you don't have to go with this company. I mean, I understand your reasoning behind it, but you don't have to do this.
Right. We have a continuing service contract with three firms total.
Okay. I just wanted to understand that. All right. Thank you.
Any further comments? All right, thank you. Mr. Lightfoot, any further discussion from the commission? I guess I should ask. All right, Mr. Lightfoot, if you call the roll.
Commissioner Ward?
Yes.
Commissioner Perno?
Yes.
Commissioner Tender?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Peebles?
Yes. Motion approved. Moving on to number 16, discussion and possible approval of resolution 2025-10491, approving a cooperative agreement with Odyssey Manufacturing Company at a rate of $1.69 per gallon of sodium hypochlorite.
Yes, sir. A resolution of the City of Lynn Haven, Florida, approving the purchase of bulk sodium hypochlorite for the wastewater treatment plant from Odyssey Manufacturing Company at a rate of $1.69 per gallon. This has been in our budget every year. We've been using Odyssey for a long time. We're just kind of cleaning it up because we spend over $35,000 per year. It's for the bleach at the wastewater treatment plant for disinfection of the sewer.
You answered the
And this is
question.
piggybacking off of a contract that was bid out by Bay County.
Okay. I just learned what hypochlorite is, I guess.
Fancy word for bleach.
Okay. All right. Full disclosure, chemistry was not my best subject in college.
I had to retake it as well.
All right.
Make a motion, we approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve from Commissioner Tender, a second from Commissioner Perno. Is there any public commentary? All right, none. Any further discussion from the commission? All right, Mr. Lightfoot, if you call the roll.
Commissioner Tender?
Yes.
Commissioner Perno?
Yes.
Commissioner Warwick?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Peebles?
Yes. Moving on to item number 18. No, sorry. 17. Discussion and possible approval of Resolution 2025-11-492 to award bid for 17th Street and Kane Griffin pedestrian improvements to 850 Construction Services, LLC in the amount of $110,380.63.
So this project has been talked about for a little while. Last year, we built the parking lot there at the corner of 16th and Iowa Avenue to help with parking around Kane Griffin Park because, as it was mentioned earlier, Justin has increased the sports team there. So there are numerous kids, numerous parents every night at the park. Ms. Parker had actually brought this concern up several meetings about the speeders going through there and the kids crossing the road. So this project was designed and bid out to add raised crosswalks to help alleviate the speeders through there and allow a safe place for the kids and the parents to cross the road.
Do you need to read the resolution for that?
So this is Justin's fault?
Yes, sir. He has increased it to to where it needs it for sure.
It's the rebuild. You know, there used to only be one field at King Griffin, you know. Now there's, what, 4 or 5?
4.
4, and there's 4 fields.
And they're all named after people from the area that went pro or went really far in baseball, I believe.
I do need to read the resolution. A resolution of the City of Lynn Haven, Florida, approving an agreement with 850 Construction Services, LLC, for the 17th Street and Kane Griffin Pedestrian Improvements Project in the amount of $110,380.63.
All right. Is there a motion for this?
Motion to approve the project.
Second.
Motion to approve from Commissioner Perno, second from Commissioner Warwick. Is there any public commentary? All right, none. Any further discussion from the commission?
Nope.
All right, Mr. Lightfoot, if you call the roll.
Commissioner Perno?
Yes.
Commissioner Warwick?
Yes.
Commissioner Tender?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Peebles?
Yes, motion approved. Moving on to item number 18. Discussion and possible direction to staff on next steps in the process of searching for a city manager. City attorney.
Okay, yeah, this is just the staff looking for direction moving forward, and in your packet when it talks about the alternatives, obviously if you have what you need now, you don't need anything else. You don't have to do anything at this moment. So that's one of the options, which was option E. If you're not ready to do a short list, you can direct staff to continue advertising the position. To try to increase the applicant pool, you can revise the criteria and re-advertise. You can appoint somebody to conduct interviews. Appoint somebody, right now without doing anything else, or like I said, do nothing and keep doing your analysis and come back later. I think it was just, if there's going to be a change or some other criteria needed, staff was looking for direction to move forward.
I do have some suggestions on this, and of course, I'm open to everyone's opinion on it. Don't want to pretend like I'm an expert in this at all, but I would like to. So we did get all the applications back. We had some that met the requirements, some that didn't. We have a spreadsheet that shows all that. Thank you for doing those. Great job. It helped out a lot. What I would like to see is now a second phase of the Tiger team modified to where we have. I want to try to get the Tiger team to be more some new eyes, some that have been here for a little while, and some that have been here for a long time. The initial Tiger team that just looked over if they met the minimum requirements was very heavy on the people that just got here. And there's nothing wrong with that. I want that. But I think we should spread it out some and then maybe get it down to a final list of like 10. I mean, there was only 8 that met the minimum requirements, but I still want to give the ability to some that did not meet the minimum requirements a shot, because maybe some of the department heads saw something in that did not meet minimum requirements that caught their eye that maybe we didn't. This is an important decision. I want to get as many eyes on it as we can. My other suggestion is I've heard horror stories of hiring a city manager where they basically put him on the podium with everyone in here and live streaming it, and we'll be interviewing them, and then someone will take that what we're asking them and go run to their buddy and tell them what we're asking, so that person has an advantage when they get interviewed. And so we need to figure out a way we can prevent that from happening. I don't know what the answer is 100%, so I kind of want to just bring it up now, because we want all the people that are applying to have the same playing field, rather than if you go first, you're at a huge disadvantage, and if you go last, you're at a major advantage because you know what we're going to be asking. So I'm open to suggestions for that, but that's kind of where my mind is at as of right now.
I personally went through every single resume application, looked at all of them. And out of the 8 that met the requirement, in my eyes, 2 of them need to be disqualified. I'll let you guys decide which 2 of those are. I don't know if you found what I found, but so that takes you down to 6. And out of those, there was only 2 that I would say are possible. And I just don't think it's a good pool of people. And I'm of the opinion we need to re-advertise.
If I may, I definitely agree with Commissioner Warwick. I think we need to re-advertise to increase the pool. I've been through the majority of them, and I've also read horror stories about some that are on there. I feel like, and I bring this from 2017, I believe it was, when we interviewed for the position city manager for Michael White. It was very close to what you're saying, except what actually happened was they kept all the potential candidates out in the hall, but all the wives could stay inside with their cell phones. And we asked everybody the same questions. So by the time we got down to number 5 and 6 and 7, and some of these people had flown in, I mean, from all over the country, they all knew the answers. And we also the commission interviewed them one by one in private, but that was beforehand. But, before they all did that. I think we need to keep it transparent, in the sense that I don't know how you do that. Just ask people, unless we put them back here in the room and whatever, but, I don't know how to do that particularly, but I think we should increase the pool for sure. We have a lot of local people, and if you've read most of Commissioner Warwick says he's read them all, we have a lot of people who work construction, who have applied. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but most people that can build a building don't know how to run a city, and that's been proven already. So that would be my opinion, to increase the pool.
Now, when you say increase the pool, are you saying just to re-advertise so we get more, or are you saying we need to change the requirements.
Oh, the requirements are kind of goofy, but, you know, I mean, people, for example, and I know this might sound very old-fashioned, but when I read a resume from somebody and it's all done on AI and it's not even their words, I throw them out automatically. I want to know the person. I want to feel like I'm talking to that person, not to push a button and make me sound good. You know, I'm not into that. So, but a lot of these applications, one was a waitress at 3 different restaurants. I mean, we have to set this bar high. This person is going to be in charge of 200 employees and what they do and how they do it. I just think we need to increase the pool.
Okay. I believe the number was, we got 39 applications and 8 met the minimum requirements. What do we want to have a minimum pool of people that meet the minimum requirements? Like how are we gonna meet expanding that pool? Like, because the idea on paper is cool, but we have to have a plan to get there. You know what I mean?
Well, and when you do a resume, I understand the question for asking, have you been arrested? But when they say no, and you can pull up an article that shows they have been arrested, it's like, okay, well, this person's not going to tell the truth, so throw them out. I mean, there has to be just common sense to some of it. We don't want to repeat. You know, we don't want to go back 3 years from now and have to fire a city manager and fire chief police. You know, we don't want to have to keep doing that over and over. So I think increasing the pool with honest people is more important.
So what's the answer to make that happen? I guess Commissioner Warwick said just re-advertise it. Would you keep the previous people in that pool if they're still interested?
Yeah.
And then advertise again?
Yes, sir.
How much is it going to cost to re-advertise?
Going to cost us a fortune if we don't pick the right person.
Well, that's a good point. I agree with that.
Doing it in-house won't cost a whole lot. There's a couple of $100s per our different agencies and associations that we go through for specialized publications. What the commission may want to think about is it was advertised at your minimum. That certainly probably flattened out the application pool. Again, there might have been some people who applied because they all apply for just about anything, Commissioner Tender, but they would not have made the minimum qualifications list. The other thing is you all could identify the types of experience you want this applicant to have, not just years of experience, which is everything, but do you want some that have had actual government or not-for-profit experience, which is vastly different from some other experiences, or do you want it wide open? I think your group, again, needs some of that guidance in order to advertise appropriately with what the minimum qualifications and what the preferred requirements are so that you get a more robust list of possible applicants for you all to take to the next step. It's hard to attract at this level folks. If they're already working and they're comfortable in their place and they have families, a move is something that has to be contemplated and discussed with the whole family. So you potentially are going to attract those that are already retirees wanting to get to Florida. Is that something that needs to be asked and questioned? We have to be careful. Some of those aren't legal questions. Questions about arrest data, it's typically if you've been convicted, we can do arrest data, we can ask arrests, but we always would verify in a background check. So at some point before it gets to the final, a background should be done on your selection of individuals to weed out that, along with looking at their social accounts, their social media accounts, and things of that nature.
And is there something, is there something illegal about asking for references? Or
No.
we just didn't ask?
No, you might not. We did ask,
Oh, really?
And sometimes they'll just do available upon request.
Okay.
That's one of those things that, honestly, when you're asking a person for references, they're going to give you individuals who will give the most positive reference. Not that that's a bad thing, but those still have to be checked as well.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the way I look at it. If I had 3 good candidates that I had kind of somewhat a warm fuzzy until we actually interviewed them, I'd be all for ready to actually do a personal interview and ask them. Since we only, I don't know what everyone else is, but since I'm at 2, it makes it difficult. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know where the rest of you are at with it.
I'm probably at I could pull out 4 or 5 that I would want to interview. I will say this, bringing back to the arrest thing, the packet that was given to us had very good questions and they answered them. But be careful, because one of the questions is, have you ever been fired from a board or whatever? And someone, obviously not gonna say a name, but someone said no, and all you had to do was just Google their name, and they had been, So I'm just letting you guys know. Definitely look at that question, as
The key word in that question was alleged.
yeah, right.
And I believe that same person was suing that city. So we don't want to go there either.
So what are we thinking way forward here? I just want to be able to give the staff what they need to do.
I'm of the opinion to do the same thing we did before and see if we can get any more viable applicants. That's my opinion.
I mean, I tend to lean that way. I would like to, if we do that, I would like to continue to have the discussion of, once we have viable amount of candidates, what's the way forward then, so that we don't, when we have those candidates, take an entire other 2 weeks to determine, okay, now that we have the candidates, you know what I mean?
I don't know how we do that. Well, part of it I have an idea, but like, for instance, your number 1 might be my number 6, and I'm like, I don't think that person's a viable candidate, but you might disagree with me. So I don't know how you get to that point. But once you figure that part out, who your viable candidates are, I say we do personal one-on-one interviews with them like we did before, and then we do the one in person in the public for everyone to see, and do the interview that way also. I don't know if that probably partially answers your question, probably not totally.
And it does show a lot how they speak in public. I mean, that tells you a lot about a person.
Yeah, I agree, because they're going to have to be speaking in public. I just don't know how to prevent our questions to leak to other candidates. Like you were saying, how they had all the answers. We don't want them to go online and create a Quizlet of the questions that we're going to be asking,
No.
So
One suggestion the commission could consider is, at your top candidates, if you're going to do it in bank or all of you, you can actually do some scenario question that the candidate would give a full presentation. And you could have different presentations. In other words, you pick a particular problem or issue that you think the city manager may have to face. We give a scenario, and they have to present PowerPoint, whatever, how they would tackle that. You all could then give follow-up questions, which, based on that presentation, could be slightly different, but related to the topic. That way, I would still sequester your top applicants, but it's their presentation time with some follow-up questions. I've seen that done. That's one thing to consider as an option.
thank you. Yeah, that's good. What do you think about my suggestion to modify the Tiger team?
You talking about doing the same thing that they did before? Or
Yeah.
Different people.
Just have different people.
I'm okay with that. I mean, I was fine with the way it was done this time, but I mean, I think with the standard that we set, or the guidelines that we set for the minimum requirements, for the most part, it's black and white. There's a few where you could go off the trail a little bit and be like, well, I would say they meet this requirement because of this, but
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm just trying to find a way to get more department heads involved that have been here for a while. I don't know what the answer is. I just want that to happen because it's going to be their, I want a broad of like a few newer department heads, what they'd want in their boss, and then people have been here for a while, what they'd want in their boss. I don't know if they just want to reach out to me and tell me. I don't know, but I want to know how you feel, because I don't want to hire somebody that, of course, not all department heads are going to agree, but I want feedback, because it's going to be your future boss. So, anyways, so I guess our way forward to tonight sounds like we want to re-advertise.
Re-advertise, and reform the Tiger team.
Re-advertise, modify the Tiger team. Is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do we need to make a motion on this, or just give? I guess is a question for the attorney. Do we need to vote on this?
Yeah,
or-
I mean, I think you're looking at one of these alternatives, which would be continue advertising the position, just pick a time certain, however many days.
what we do last time was a 30 days.
Yeah, I don't think we want to do more than 30.
Did you say you think we should do more than 30?
No, I don't think we should do more than 30.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you want to do 30 days around the holidays either.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know. It might give them time to
You
come
want
down
to
here
do
and
30
visit.
days at the beginning of the year.
What's today? 12th. Yeah, we might have to extend it, like, I don't know, 45 days, I think.
Yeah.
That way we get over Christmas and that. I don't know.
Because you're really going to lose, 2 full weeks and even more.
Yeah.
With both holidays.
It actually matters for the staff that has to do the compilation and the reviewing than the applicant. If the applicant's interested, they're going to meet whatever timeline you put in.
Yeah, that makes sense. Is 45 days enough for the staff, you think?
Whatever you all say, we'll make it happen.
All right.
So we want to go with 45 days?
That's fine.
And for clarification, the current applicants, if they do not meet qualifications, are we allowed to send them a, what we call a reject letter, a nicely worded reject letter, where they can still apply again, but in the first screening that they were determined to be rejected? Or do you want us to keep everything open and all applicants active?
I'd prefer it if you did that, because if
Keep everything open?
Well, I mean, I'd prefer it if you did the reject letters.
So the reject letters will only go to the ones that were in the do not meet requirement?
Right.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good with that.
And if you all have any that you want added to that, the team would need, HR would need to know.
We can't say that here. We need to do
No,
that.
we cannot say that here.
Yeah.
You'd have to talk directly with Gerard or
Okay.
myself. I won't be in the pool. But that way we can at least call out the people that clearly are not qualified, keep them, inform them that we are re-advertising and they do not have to apply unless they want to add to their application, if there's no changes, and then re-advertise.
So the only question is, do we want to make sure it's unanimous if we take them, we add them to the, where they're rejected, basically? Can't think of a better word. Do we want to make it unanimous when we talk to HR department head? That if every one of us says no on a person, then that's what it is? Or do you want to just 3 of them, majority?
You'd only be talking about the ones that don't meet requirements.
I would say unanimous.
So are you saying if there's one that is not on the do not meet requirement?
No, if they're on the meet requirement, and if unanimously we all say, I think they need to be taken off the list, then they get taken off the list. If there's one person that thinks they need to stay on the list, then we keep them on the list. Does that make sense? You look lost.
Yeah, I'm lost on if you're.
Say in the meet requirement, so we have 8. And let's say, we'll just say whatever candidate, right? Candidate Mr. Smith. There's no Mr. Smith in this one. So we'll say Mr. Smith, right? And 5 of us say, yeah, he needs to be removed from the list. Then we'll send a reject letter. But let's say 4 of us say we want them taken off the list, but only 1 wants to keep them, then they stay on the list.
Yeah, for sure. And then on top of that, anyone that doesn't, of the ones that already don't meet the requirements, so let's go ahead and send the letter.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
That make sense?
Yeah. I'm following.
And
That's
keep
fine
in
with me.
mind, if they're rejected and we open it back up again, they can reapply.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
We won't bar that.
Right.
But at least we've sent them a message that they didn't meet the first.
Okay.
Yeah, we just
time
don't
around.
want to waste their time or yeah.
Is there any other direction you need from us this time? I'm sorry, that's taking over the meeting for you.
Is there any more direction you need from us at this time?
Are you keeping the minimum qualifications the same?
I say yes.
And then I think they added some preferred qualifications for you all to consider and look at. So basically follow the same process, just re-advertise for the 45 days. We can send the rejects to those that were not on the qualifications list. We can have HR send out just the 8 names again and get a confirmation from you all. Or if you want somebody added.
Unless unanimous, we all say remove that
Right,
person.
got that. I think we're good, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Moving on to item number 19, discussion and possible approval of the interim procedure for Section 21 of the city charter, specifically relating to the interpretation of advice and consent pending the charter review. Commissioner Work?
Yes, so there's been a clear difference in how Section 21 of our city charter and the phrase advice and consent is interpreted. Our city attorney has advised that a formal vote isn't required, reasoning that such a requirement would conflict with the city manager's authority under Section 26B to appoint and remove department heads. She further suggested that notifying each commissioner and considering their feedback fulfills that requirement. Noting that recent appointments like the fire chief and planning director were handled this way without objection, which she viewed as proof the process was working as intended. While I understand and respect the interpretation, I believe it places too much emphasis on administrative convenience and not enough on transparency. Lynn Haven residents deserve to see how their elected officials express consent, openly, on the record, and in a way that can be traced in the minutes for years to come. I believe the charter's language, our past practice, and common sense governance all point to a more transparent and accountable approach. Requiring a formal recorded vote doesn't take power away from the city manager. It simply ensures the commission's consent is clear, public, and properly documented. This isn't an unusual interpretation. In fact, cities such as Bonita Springs, Lake Wales, Ormond Beach, St. Lucie Village, and Tallahassee all use the same advice and consent language and require a formal vote before an appointment takes effect. After reviewing many municipal charters across Florida, I couldn't find a single city that uses advice and consent without also taking a public vote. That tells us something. In Florida, consent has always meant an affirmative on-the-record act. When the process happens informally, 2 major problems arise. First, there's no clear record showing who supported or opposed the appointment. Without a recorded vote or a mention in the minutes, residents and future commissions can't see how those decisions were made. That lack of transparency erodes accountability, and frankly, it's one of the reasons many in our community have lost faith in how City Hall operates. Second, although some recent department head appointments were handled without a formal vote, precedent alone does not establish correctness, especially when prior actions conflict with the charter's plain language. The mere fact that something has been done a certain way does not make it consistent with the charter. For instance, Police Chief Reamer was appointed by a formal commission vote in January 2017 and Fire Chief John DeLonge was appointed by formal commission vote in January 2012, demonstrating that Lynn Haven's prior practice recognized the need for explicit commission consent. Those historical examples reinforce that advice and consent was understood as requiring a public recorded vote at the time. The charter's wording, the advice and consent of a majority of the commission, is also very clear. If individual conversations were enough, the charter wouldn't specify a majority. That language signals collective action, not private advisement. It means the commission must act together, publicly, and on the record. This interpretation isn't new. Across every level of government, advice and consent carries the same meaning. Discussion first, formal action second. So if you look at the federal level, the U.S. Constitution, Article 2, Section 2 states that the president shall appoint officers by and with the advice and consent of the Senate. This clause has always been understood to require a formal, recorded vote of confirmation by the Senate. The advice portion allows for debate and questioning, while the consent portion requires formal action recorded in the Journal of the Senate. In Florida law, several statutes such as 125.85, 420.505, 298.17, and 252.83 use the same term, always implying a public vote or resolution. In Florida practice, consent is never implied or obtained through informal communication. It must be affirmatively expressed on the public record, ensuring both transparency and compliance with the Sunshine Law's prohibition on private decision-making. At the local level, as I mentioned earlier, many Florida municipal charters mirror the same approach, requiring a formal recorded vote of the governing body before an appointment becomes effective. This reflects Florida's longstanding commitment to open government and reinforces a consistent statewide understanding of how advice and consent functions at the municipal level. So whether at the federal, state, or local level, advice and consent has always meant transparency, deliberation, and a recorded decision. Put simply, advice is when the commission discusses and gives feedback before the appointment. Consent is when the commission votes to approve or deny the appointment publicly. I acknowledge that the city attorney's opinions are advisory in nature and intended to guide decision-making. However, this city commission, as a legislative and governing authority of this city, is not legally bound to adopt or follow the city attorney's interpretation when an alternate reading better reflects the charter's intent or serves the public interest. The Charter Review Committee is currently reviewing this section, and I'd like to see them prioritize it for long-term clarification. In the meantime, I'm proposing a simple, transparent interim process that ensures residents can clearly see how these appointments occur. And you can see the steps on the screen. Step 1, a department head position, such as police chief or public work director, becomes vacant or is newly created. Step 2, the city manager conducts a search, interviews candidates, and selects their preferred nominee for the position. Step 3, the city manager places the appointment on the city commission meeting agenda, which will include their resume, application, and recommendation from the city manager. Step 4, at the meeting, the commission discusses the appointment. Commissioners may ask questions such as the candidate's experience, goals, or management style. They can express support or concerns. This part represents the advice aspect, giving feedback before voting. Step 5, the chair of the meeting calls for a motion to approve the city manager's appointment. A commissioner moves to appoint, another seconds, and a vote is taken. This part represents the consent aspect, the formal vote. If a majority vote yes, the appointment is confirmed and becomes official. If a majority vote no, the appointment fails and the city manager must nominate someone else. This process doesn't change our charter, it honors it. It ensures transparency, strengthens accountability, and lets our residents see exactly how decisions are made on their behalf. Therefore, I make a motion that the commission adopt this interim interpretation of advice and consent for all department head appointments until voters have the opportunity to clarify the charter through referendum. This approach promotes openness, complies with the Sunshine Law, and helps preserve public trust in how Lynn Haven's government operates. Thank you.
I mean, it's a solid argument. Um, in case anyone didn't hear, she's just getting the paper to do the official motion in the minutes.
Yeah, I screwed up. I was going to send her the stuff to help her with her writing of the minutes. My apologies.
Yeah, so when I first saw this on the agenda, my first question was the city manager still going to be the one that makes the appointment, looks at the resume, gives the recommendation? That was the main sticking point for me, and it looks like that's the case. I mean, and at the end of the day, if you don't trust the city manager's recommendations to begin with, why are they the city manager? So, I don't see a problem with this. I'd like to hope that whoever we have as the city manager, and with Chris right now, or if he becomes a city manager permanently in the future, that we trust him. So, I don't have an issue with this. I think he made a solid argument. My only question is, I just want to make sure that if this motion is legal to do, and if it is, I like it. So,
Yeah, we're not changing the charter or anything.
It's not a matter of legality, like Commissioner Work said. I mean, city attorney, this came from Amy. We give advice. It's advisory. You don't have to listen to what we say. We don't get a vote. Obviously, it's been done both ways in the past for some reason, more recently. Not been voted on, but go back to 2017 and prior, you have had votes. I do 100% agree the Charter Commission needs to focus on this and clarify it long term to avoid this from ever happening again.
So, there's a couple issues with doing it, and there's a lot of issues doing it informally. Is one, there's Chapter 119 for Florida Public Records Law, right? That I'm sure you're really familiar with. And, failure to provide a record when the one hasn't been created is not a direct violation of it, but it defeats the purpose of the transparency and accountability of it. So if we were to go back and say, hey, when this department head was appointed, who was for and who was against it, I want a public records request on it. And we can't provide it because it was all done informally. That's one of the problems I have with it.
Right, and I think a good, smart city manager would, when he has those conversations, would document that, keep it in his desk, and there would be a record eventually if it ever came out, but I'm not saying every city manager has or would do that.
I make a motion, we accept it.
Well, I already made the motion. Just need a second.
Give me a second.
Okay, so we
Give
got
him
a
a
motion
second.
on the floor for the very long thing that I can't remember. But we understand what it means is to adopt what Commissioner Wark has said, the 5-step process. And we have a second by Commissioner Tender. Is there any public commentary? Yeah, well, we'll go Mr. Walker first because he's in the front row. I'll just honor the same process, and I'll get you next, Mr. Lowry.
The Charter Review Board is going to review the whole charter, okay? That's their job, and they're going to look at this. As I look at it, and I just checked with the chairman of the board, he doesn't believe that this is a change to the charter. I assume that Commissioner Wark doesn't consider it a change of the charter. It isn't in the charter, so adding it is changing the charter. And that's up to the people, because this has to become across to the people that are going to be looking at the people's document, not your document, their document. And they're going to look at it and they're going to say, okay, listen, I don't disagree with this idea. It is a good idea. We don't have policies in there for an interim city manager. We don't have that in there. We don't have anything in there for policies. This denotes a policy, which is good. The only questionable thing I have about it is a change. If it's proposed as a change, fine. Let it go to the committee and they'll put it in. And we'll go for a referendum on it. Because everybody's probably going to agree with this. We don't have it. We need it. So that's the way I look at it. I like the idea. If I was on the committee, maybe they'll like the idea too. They're going to be the final decision on it. Thank you for the idea.
Okay, can I just say one thing?
Sure, go for
So what I'm stating is it's not changing the charter currently at all. It's just a difference in interpretation. And I know it's going to sound like I'm overconfident, but I believe my interpretation is correct over the city attorney's.
Dr. Lowry?
Good evening, Commission. Dave Lowry, Harrier Street. Commissioner Ward, I want to applaud you for what you just proposed. I teach public administration and good governance, accountability, and could not agree more, Commissioner. Accountability and transparency is so sorely needed across all municipalities, especially our city government here now, as you ladies and gentlemen are all too familiar with. Commissioner Warts, I could literally give you a doctoral level presentation on advice and consent, but needless to say, he's spot on. I have never heard at the federal, state, or local level, and I actually did my own PhD level research as well, and I concur that I could not find a single municipality in the state of Florida that did a verbal-only informal concurrence. I honestly believe if you tried to do that, you would be shortchanging yourself and the citizens that you represent. It's a simple sanity check. I would highly encourage it. In fact, I would actually take it one step further and say that you would need to do that for your entire leadership team. And I mean as in department heads and deputy department heads. Deputy department heads are literally one heartbeat or one lightning strike away from being the department head, right? So just if you look at the federal level or even at the state level, the Senate does not just confirm the Secretary of the Air Force, for example. They confirm the Secretary of the Air Force and the Undersecretary of the Air Force, right? It's a leadership team. I would consider that for you, ladies and gentlemen, going forward. One other tidbit in the whole hiring process, I would actually recommend that you consider taking the city manager's, he or she proposes a hire. Informally, in between you all, the city commission or the city manager would submit to the commission the top three. A rack and stack of candidate A was my top pick because of 1, 2, and 3. Candidate B had this 1, 2, and 3, but had this, was not as strong. I decided not to go with them because of this reason, this background, or this issue, or lack of training. That way, the commission, as you are confirming, you're looking at all top three. You see what the city manager made their decision based on. You have confidence. You should have a good working relationship with that person and a good level of communication and trust. But you also get, as Ronald Reagan would say, the trust but verify, right? It gives you a little bit more of the dimension. If you're comfortable with that, that's an internal discussion that you just review. And if you have questions, you can certainly take that to the city manager. But it gives you clarity, it gives you purpose, it gives you focus. And for the rest of the community, it gives us transparency and accountability, which we elected y'all to do. And I appreciate you doing it. We didn't have an opportunity to discuss the last item in terms of the city manager advertisements. If I could, just one potential consideration. Consider advertising through the American Society of Public Administration, ASPA. They're actually a professional organization of city managers nationwide. They would have the body, the pool that you guys are looking to bring in talent from, just for your consideration.
Thank you. Any further public commentary? Okay. We started on this row, so we'll go here and then. All right, Mr. Langford. Oh, sorry. Okay.
All right, thank you, and great presentation, by the way. I know you and I and some others have had some discussions about the interpretation of our current charter, and the one key word to me, and I've mentioned this before, is majority. The current charter has the word majority in there, and how do we determine majority? I think there needs to be an official, transparent process to determine the majority when it relates to advice and consent. So I don't feel like this process changes the charter. I think it just emboldens the interpretation of it. And it just so happens it appears as of right now, the Charter Review Committee agrees with that interpretation. To clarify this, we've already taken steps to rewrite or revise Chapter 21, which or Section 21, which will obviously come to you all and eventually make it to the ballot, which will essentially indoctrinate this process, so there's no mistake in interpretation going forward. So hopefully this, if the citizens of Lynn Haven want this change to the charter to clarify this or to eliminate that misperception in the future, then that'll occur. So I fully support this, and I think the Charter Review Committee will as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I see the hands one more time? All right, Ms. Parker.
Jerry Parker, Rhett Place. Chris, you had stated that that there was a committee for the police chief. Now, is that committee, are they going to make the determination on who gets put in there, the top 10 or top 5 or whatever?
They will make a recommendation. So there are 3 outside people on the panel, along with Ms. Hodges and myself. So a panel of 5 that the final 3 to 5 will be interviewed by. And then we will take recommendations from those 3 outside, and then we will make a final decision on who the police chief will be.
Okay, so to make this clear too, there will not be a new committee in reference to the city manager, is that correct?
I don't understand the question.
So there's a committee in reference to the police chief, right? Is there going to be a committee for city manager as well?
I'm not involved in that process.
Yeah, he's not part of it. There's a tiger team of department heads that review the requirements and then send in us if they meet the minimum
Gotcha.
requirements. Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that and make sure. Thank you.
Commissioner Warwick, you said all department heads. Are you referring, though, to the ones that are listed, and those are by ordinance only? Because by doing all, I just need to know that.
Well, it says, it lists them, and at the end of it says, and those are departments as established by ordinance. So I don't know what those are. So whatever the charter states, I would say we go by that.
It is outdated. It may not fit, so we may have to come back for clarification.
Mr. Scray?
As a additional member of that committee, I'd like to share with you guys so you guys better understand kind of what we talked about. If you didn't watch the video, our committee will have all of our meetings recorded, audio and video, and posted on the city YouTube, so they're available for you to watch. But we did delineate out officers of the city, and this hasn't been voted on. It'll be voted on in our next meeting. But as the chairman also indicated, we would bring this back to you. So this is all just kind of talking point at this point. But we delineated out that officers of the city of Lynn Haven would be the city manager, city clerk, and city attorney. And department heads would be the police chief, fire chief, public works director, finance director, and those departments as established by ordinance. So to answer that question, I think you would just need to look at all the ordinances that have been passed and figure out if there's additional department heads that were passed through ordinance versus not. And then separate of that, as a resident, I would ask if there's department heads that are not being passed by ordinance, how did they get to exist? Is there a procedure, and I haven't looked this up yet, so I'm just flying off the cuff here, but are there department heads that exist in the city that exist and did not have some kind of commission direction or ordinance to put them in place? If that's the case, I guess that's something as a community we just need to think about, and really through our representatives is, do we need to go back and ratify current department heads through an ordinance just to make sure they're all in there? Or do we just need to go one by one or something like? Hey, that's what you guys get paid for. You figure that out, please.
Yep, it is. All right, any further public commentary? All right. We have a motion on the floor with a second. Any further discussion from the commission?
I just wanted to ask if the city attorney wanted to provide anything on the other side of the interpretation.
I think you guys have heard what Amy said. I think it's just more of the, the city manager has the power, and he or she would, hire and fire all employees. So it's just getting rid of that contradiction, which I totally understand your interpretation.
What contradiction are you talking about between 26 and 21?
When you have you appoint the city manager, that's going to be in charge of all personnel. But again, I don't want to get too far into this because we've done it the other way. Well, I say prior to me, probably when Judy was here, we've done it the other way. So, I don't want to take a hard and fast line on this. I do think it needs clarification. It sounds like the charter committee is committed to move forward with that.
Okay.
Been said.
All right, any further discussion? All right, Mr. Lightfoot, if you'd call the roll.
Commissioner Wark?
Yes.
Commissioner Tender?
Yep.
Commissioner Perno?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Peoples?
Yes, motion passed. All right, moving on to item number 20, which was previously number 12, which was approval of resolution 2025-11-490 for the purchase of a Ford F-550 diesel vacuum truck from Jet Vac Equipment Company, LLC, in the amount of $371,000.00.
The resolution of the City of Glen Haven, Florida, approving the purchase of a Ford F-550 diesel vacuum truck from Jet Vac Equipment Company, LLC, in an amount of $371,000. And I believe earlier I said that we were foregoing a generator. I meant to say a bypass pump that was budgeted. We've purchased several bypass pumps over the years. We were going to purchase one more. We're going to forego that pump, use the $51,000 that was budgeted for that to apply to the $320,000 that was budgeted for the vac truck and make this purchase. This is a non-CDL truck. We already do have a CDL truck. I emailed you all Monday with some concerns that had surfaced over the weekend about this purchase. It was planned for about 2 fiscal years now, just to help out with our utilities and public works staff. Anybody on our crew can hop in this thing and go to work. We don't have to rely on a CDL driver to come in at 2 a.m. if we can't get a hold of them, or a contractor. And it will allow for any type of work on the sewer system, the water distribution system, as well as the stormwater system.
All right, is there a motion for this?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, there's a motion to approve from Commissioner Wark, a second from Commissioner Perno. Is there any public commentary? Mr. Walker?
Last one I added. It's not confusing, but there's a little bit of information in here that's lacking. It says here in 2021, we acquired the first vacuum truck. That's not true. We had one before that. I asked about this a long time ago, and nobody's been able to prove what happened to it. It was a truck that was designed and brought in for cleaning the curbs, but you couldn't use it to clean the curbs. It was discarded, but it was a vacuum truck. It disappeared. Nobody's been able to tell me where that went. The second one we have is only, 221, only a couple of years old. And the reason we have to get a new one is because the drivers have to be CDL approved for the old one. It doesn't make sense. We have drivers that work for us that are all CDL approved. None of them are approved?
There's only a small number of them.
Well, the one I talked to that was just there, he came out of retirement, he's CDL, and he drives the truck that picks up the agriculture. So the information we're working at is not exactly right. The total here will be $371,000 because $50,000 is added to it. Are we going to sell the old one? Are we going to get any money out of it? Doesn't say anything there. There's a transportation charge for it, $50,000 to get here. There's a deduction. Going back to the CDL, if you're telling me our employees, none of them are CDL hired, I think you better check. Because my conversation with that gentleman was very interesting. So, because of the CDL requirement, we're going to have a company make a truck or making a truck that doesn't require that, will allow me to drive it. Trucks on our road, commercial, require a CDL. I'm a little confused in this, in what your people, your hired people are saying, and what we have on our CDL.
So multiple things there. One, the city has never owned a vac truck before 2021. We did own a street sweeper at one time. Yes, it had a vacuum concept to it, but two totally different trucks, a street sweeper and a vac truck. We paid $318,000 back in 2021 for the original vac truck that we still have. We are not selling that truck. It is used every day for stormwater maintenance, for sewer maintenance. We have a driver that's dedicated to that truck. He uses it daily. This will allow the day-to-day water leaks, sewer backups, those kind of issues to be resolved with the rest of the crew. We have, I believe, 3 CDL drivers kind of in that group there. Who Mr. Walker is referring to drives the knuckle booms that's in the sanitation department. If we were to start pulling those drivers off of sanitation trucks, we would not be picking up garbage and yard debris. So a couple different things there. I think that was all. Did I miss anything in the questions there?
Only point I was going to add is that I think, one, people are thinking we're getting this truck just because of the low amount of CDL drivers, and that's not the case. Even if we had CDL drivers, we need a backup system in case our primary vac truck goes down. And there are times in the middle of the night when they get called out, and it happens quite often where they get called out. And if you can't get a hold of any of those people who are CDL drivers, then you have more flexibility as far as getting those people out there to work those jobs.
That is correct. We are the only municipality with only one vac truck. Other municipalities have multiple vac trucks. Again, if we do not purchase this truck, is it going to affect me? No, I'm going to have to deal with the budget accordingly. Is it going to affect residents? They're not going to notice. The work is still going to get done. The sewer leaks will still be fixed at 2 o'clock in the morning, but it's the workers that are called out in the middle of the night that will be struggling. This is what the equipment helps, or who the equipment helps.
And the couple other points I make is, one, there are times when the main truck goes down for maintenance.
Absolutely.
So you don't, and then you have to go out and try to get one from one of these places, and they'll charge you $250, $300 an hour. And if you try doing that in the middle of the night, you're not going to get one. Good luck. The other point I was going to make is this truck does the same jobs as the main truck. The only difference is the storage of the water. The non-CDL holds, 4 yards, and the main one holds 12 yards. So you got to make more trips.
That's correct.
All right. Any further public commentary, Mr. Langford?
So first off, I want to thank Commissioner Warwick. I'd sent you all an email expressing concern regarding this specific agenda item. Mr. Warwick set up a meeting with Mr. Lightfoot, myself, and Mr. Warwick to discuss this. We talked at length about this. And I learned a lot in that meeting, and I'm glad that we sat down. Some of the things I walked away with, I understand why we're doing it. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I understand with some areas. And to Mr. Warwick's point that he just made, that the public thinks that we're purchasing this because the city has a lack of CDL drivers. It specifically states in the packet that, however, the city currently faces a shortage of qualified CDL drivers required to operate the truck due to federal licensing requirement. To address this challenge, staff have tested a non-CDL version of a vacuum truck, et cetera, et cetera. So I just want to be very clear here. My problem isn't necessarily with the amount of money that we're spending or the fact that we're purchasing another vacuum truck. My problem specifically surrounds the fact that we have unqualified individuals working for the city of Lynn Haven. When I say unqualified, I mean they are not CDL qualified. Okay? That's the nucleus of my frustration with this. So I brought this up to Mr. Lightfoot, and I learned an interesting point here. There was an individual, he may or may not still work for the city. I'm not going to butcher his name, not that it matters. But this individual developed a detailed training plan in 2022 when the federal licensing requirements increased for CDL. This individual developed a detailed plan on how to get employees qualified in that department for the city of Lynn Haven to get their CDL. Okay? That individual, as we call it in the military, ran it up the chain of command. That plan was axed. It was not approved. I'm not trying to open up a can of worms here, but it was allegedly the previous city manager did not allow that. So my point here is that we've now got some residual effects that we're dealing with here. Okay? We've got city personnel who, thank goodness for them, because these guys and gals, they do great work. Okay? My frustration is that we have somebody on the books, they need to be qualified to do their job. All right? We have the same qualification process where I work. Goodness gracious. We get requalified every year. I've been doing this for 26 years. Every year I have to go back and get requalified to do my job, to make sure that I meet the standards that's required to ensure the safety of what it is that I'm doing. Okay? All I'm asking for is that when you all approve spending, attach some strings to it. Thank you.
Thanks.
So we do in the approved fiscal year 2026 budget. It was in the 2025 budget as well. We have money set aside. It's actually in the sanitation budget in the training line item to send some of our public works employees to CDL school. That will be treated just like we do any other type of tuition plan where we pay this. The employee has to commit to a certain amount of time as an employee at the city. Of course, it will be prorated as each month goes down. So if they leave, they have to pay a certain amount back. That way we can get more of our employees CDL licensed.
Assigned to a CDL truck, and that's part of their job. They have CDLs. They are not driving CDL trucks, not having the proper license or certification, and we have to keep up yearly with their qualifications. What we're talking about is in Public Works, there are other employees not assigned to drive knuckle booms, garbage trucks, or CDL equipment, and that this would provide much more flexibility to the city to respond to needs.
Piggybacking off of that, for example, a heavy equipment operator 2 position requires a CDL, whereas a heavy equipment operator 1 position does not. So we don't have people that are in the operator 2 position that are unqualified without a CDL. So they have to have the certain criteria to even be hired on in that position, as well as a sanitation driver 1 or 2, or any of our other driver requirements.
Any further on this row? Okay. Go ahead.
Real quick, Chris, it sounds like you're going to be the interim city manager longer, sir. So this is just a basic symptom of training deficiencies of the past, kind of the proverbial kicking the can down the road, and ladies and gentlemen are now here holding the bag for it. One thing I would respectfully encourage you and your team to do with the HR managers, do a citywide employee audit, basically. Look across the entire spectrum for training requirements. What do they need to do officially to do their job? If there are deltas and gaps there, what is a get well plan? And it would probably not be a single year, But if you can get them on that right pathway and kind of an established timeline, much like that proactive public works individual did previously that got shot down 3 years ago, I think that would be helpful for the entire city. And regardless of who steps into the city manager position, it also gives the city commission an opportunity to know exactly where your deficiencies are, and if there needs to be a certain training funding allocation or special program set up to get everybody up to speed. I know we've talked about it before in the sewage plant as well, the treatment. This is not just indicative of this one area, but I would dare say probably across the entire city. So if you get a handle on it now, get a get well plan in place, and what gets corrected is what we focus on and work on, and you get it across the finish line. So just some little humble recommendation there, sir. I really appreciate what you're doing, and if you can do that too, I think these folks would be very grateful. I know the citizens would be as well.
Thank you. Mr. Scray.
I also had emailed out about this. Chris, I appreciate the information you sent back, particularly about the CDL program. What is the timeline on when we're going to start seeing people certified in that program?
Been quite busy the past couple of months, so it's fell to the back burner, but it will get resurfaced.
Okay. What is the cost approximately for each person to be certified?
I believe the cost was $2,500 to $3,500 for the.
Why you tie it to the retention?
Right.
Okay. What is the cost to the city for one of these concerts we do?
About $1,000 per band or group, plus any overtime or any other thing. I mean, we'd have to get a deeper analysis on that.
Got it. I love quality of life events. I love the parades. I love the concerts. I don't love them so much that our employees are suffering, having to go out at 2 a.m., the same employee every single time to vac stuff. I have spoken numerous times about how these events should not cost the city a penny. There are so many ways that the city can do these events at no cost to the city. We have amazing event promoters in our own community that could take these on at no cost to the city. The city just needs to develop a statement of work and put it out for bid as a concessionaire type contract. That means the city does not pay anything. In fact, the city can actually choose the vendor based on how much money the vendor can bring back to the city. I used to do these in the Air Force. They're great. We could do it for Christmas parade. We could do it for 4th of July. Why are these events costing us money when we have people that are not getting certified? Like, it just, I cannot understand it. As far as this, I mean, this to me is open and shut. I do have one question, though, that I emailed and maybe just didn't get back to me yet on it. You're busy. But I asked about the possibility of selling the other truck, and you said you actually had looked at that, and the quote was so low. What was that quote? Do you know about how much?
We were offered $221,000 for the other truck.
That originally had costed how much?
$318,000.
Okay, thank you.
Any further comment? Any further discussion from the commission? All right, we have a motion on the floor with a second. Mr. Lightfoot, could you call the roll?
Commissioner Warwick?
Yes.
Commissioner Perno?
Yes.
Commissioner Tender?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Peebles?
Yes. Motion passed, meeting adjourned.